Welcome to the Church in the Wild podcast. You'll be hearing the words from worship from Sunday, September 14th, 2025, where we continue on the wild path and discuss honor. You can find out more about Church in the Wild and all of our upcoming events and programs at churchinthewild.org. Thanks for listening.
So hi, I'm Barb. I was looking at our website for ideas on today's theme, and under the word honor, which I am hoping today's theme is, under the word honor on the website, there's a quote that says, "Ask the animals what they think, let them teach you." And that really resonated with me because I just this week attended a presentation on black bears at Cornell Cooperative Extension and found out that Native Americans did just that with the bears, and they still do in some cases. So among most Native American nations, the bear is honored and revered most almost to the level of a deity. The black bear characteristics that the indigenous people especially respect are their physical strength, their fierce protection of their young, the mama bear thing, and maybe you did know this, but I did not, and the gift of medicine that they provided. So that gift of medicine is the part that I knew nothing about. But indigenous people would watch animals that seemed to be using certain plants for medicinal purposes, and then they learned to use the plants in the same way by mimicking the animals. And the best example of this was with a plant called the Osha plant that's found in the Rocky Mountain region. And that name Osha comes from a name for bears, and it's also referred to as bear root, bear medicine, gift of the bear. There's bear in there somewhere. And the Navajos, Apache, and Pueblo people, they watched black bears coming out of hibernation, and they would always chow down on this particular plant after hibernating. And they would also chew the roots at times, and they would even make a paste of the roots by chewing it up and spitting it out, and then spread it all over their fur or rub it on tree trunks, and then rub body parts on the paste once it's on the tree trunks. And sometimes they've even seen rubbing the paste on their paws, the pads of their paws. And it's been found since then that it has anti-parasite and antifungal properties that probably helped rid the bears of those things that were growing in their fur, as well as soothing bug bites they might have had. And it's also been found to have beneficial effects on the digestive system. So after hibernating, when the bears have had a very sluggish digestive system, that seems to be something that flushes it all out and gets it rolling again. So when the people mimicked the bears in using the plant and its roots, they found that it soothed sore throats. It would numbed sore throats. It settled their digestive issues. It relieved pain when they used the paste. It helped wounds heal quicker as a paste, and it even relieved some of the symptoms of cold and flu. And it's still widely used by the indigenous people out west, and people that do holistic medicine and use herbs and things like that also still use it. The indigenous people share legends describing how the bear was gifted with the knowledge of healing by the Creator. And then the bear shared the gift with humans. And they play a major role in clans, with the members of bear clans seen as healers. There's ceremonial bear dances in lots of Native American nations. And the bear dance also symbolizes healing. And it's a really important totem in pretty much most Native American tribes. So recently, some scientists did studies to observe the bears in the presence of this Osha plant, just to kind of validate the observations that the Native Americans made. And the bears used the plant in the same ways that the Navajo and others had described it. And the one thing I thought was really interesting was even in captivity, bears that had been in captivity for a long time knew what to do with the plant. And there was one study where they presented, there was two bears, a male and a female, they presented them with the OSHA plant in their enclosure, and the female bear was already known to have been suffering from arthritis, and she right away chewed it up, made a paste, and started rubbing it all over her shoulders and her chest. And the male, they had not gotten along before this. The male chewed some of it and then kind of looked at the female and took the rest of it over to her and gave it to her, like as though he was letting her use it to make more medicine for herself, and she did. So, and then she went over and touched his nose, like, was, yeah, and yeah. So, you know, bears have also been close with the Native American culture because they're seen as very similar, because they can stand on 2 feet and walk a little bit, and they're not being aggressive when they do that. They're just trying to smell and figure out what you are, or the thing or person that's in front of them. They also have they walk flat on their feet, like, you know how dogs have, like, there's a good example. They've got those dew claws like up here, but they don't actually, well, bears walk completely flat, and so their footprints have like almost a heel and a pad and 5 toes like ours, just with really long nails, of course. And also what I didn't know is they're very intelligent. They're on par with primates. So Native American legends describe them as being able to transform between humans and humans into bears, and that's where the term brother bear comes from. And they also refer to them as their elder kinsmen, and they're a very revered animal. So, well, one of the reasons I was interested in that bear presentation was because this summer we've had 2 different black bears in our yard for the first time. And I was really interested in learning more about them. And luckily, unless you are behaving badly, they want nothing to do with harming you. And that's good since they're so common here. But now I have a whole new appreciation for them as deserving to be honored for being teachers who actually taught humans and shared their healing wisdom with humans. Who knew? Not me.
Hi, I'm Kaden. Our poem today is Dragonfly by Steve Garnaas-Holmes. I don't know if I said that right. By a pond, a dragonfly lands near you as if to greet you. You might be enraptured by its magical blue, its perfect stained glass window wings, the marble of its many globed eyes, but instead, even as it pauses before you, you are thinking about the laundry. This is no different than those moments when you are anxious about the world, about the greed and injustice and evil you know you must face, and you forget the spirit that lives in you. Its miraculous peace, its enveloping beauty, its luminous, transparent wings, its immeasurable power. Be mindful what you're mindful of. Let the Spirit have your attention and lead you to right action and mighty living with courage and peace. That was a good one.
Got off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. What God do when it pissed off? I asked. Oh, it makes something else. God care about. But any fool living in the world can see God all back. Join me in our response to wisdom in the program. We seek the Spirit, not piss them off. May we focus our attention on love.
So this month, about life on the wild path is kind of what I've been calling it. Rewilding, living a life of faith. What for a group of people at a wild church, you know, that I think is a little bit different than what maybe we've heard before in that line of thinking. really, as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about what is it, how do we live fully human? How do we really be fully alive, fully our human selves, and live from our souls rather than letting our mind be in charge all the time? So how do we walk this wild path? We were asked to develop a discipleship plan as we were starting Church in the Wild. What does it look like when somebody enters your group? How do you help them grow or get integrated into the community? And, we were really thinking, well, we're coming at this sort of at a different angle than probably other people in our group that we were working with. And I reflected on that phrase that I learned here: God is a mountain and there are many paths to the top. And so we thought about, okay, this path that we're welcoming people into to walk with us together. What does that look like? And we sort of came up with these 4 maybe trail markers along the way on this wild path that we've chosen. And that is to also say there are lots of other paths up the mountain of God, and they're all wonderful, and I think they all lead us to the same point, right? Oneness with the Spirit, being centered and focused on love. That's where all religions are taking us if we follow the path. So we thought about our wild path that we're choosing, that we get to forge, that we get to make up and borrow maybe different parts of other people's paths, but we get to put it together in our own way. And so we came up with these 4 words, these verbs that will guide us on this path: connect, honor, act, embody. So last week we talked about connecting and how this here is our main point of connection with each other as a community. It's a point where we get to reconnect with ourselves, with the Spirit, with creation. And it's sort of our time where, as I said at the beginning, we all are coming in knowing, like, this is a safe place. And we kind of get to practice here what then we want to go out and live in the rest of the world, where we might not know what we're walking into from day to day. So this is our huddle before the play, before we go out in the week ahead. And we really think about connecting and promoting connection within our lives. And so we do different things here at worship to connect. We share at the beginning. We share our celebrations and struggles. We build something together every week. We listen to the world around us, to the birds and the animals. We listen for the Spirit within us. And there are many ways that we can take this idea of promoting, enabling, or encouraging more connection into our everyday lives. And so I was curious, did anybody after last week do anything to help you connect more in the world? With yourself, with others, the earth?
Maisie and I did.
Yeah. What'd you do? Tell us.
We rented a cabin up in Catskill, New York. It's a little cabin. It's on wheels. It's cool. It's all self-contained. The only thing you have to bring is food. But we're pretty much isolated in there. There's a lot of different cabins, but they have them spread out far enough where you can't really see anybody else. And we had a fire at night. And then on Tuesday, we went to Catskill Falls State Park. And we probably went like 4 miles on those challenging trails all around the state park. And I was telling them this morning in church, I said, I'll bet you in those 2 days, I said, thank you, God, probably 100 times.
Yeah.
And I told her in a message, I said, thank you for giving me more appreciation for trees. There were a lot of trees.
Yes.
I have an oak tree I now visit on my walks. They should be daily walks, but yeah, a couple times a week.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a red oak or a white oak, but it's a beauty.
Might seem simple, but this week has been, oh man. But yesterday I was working on my message for the Sunday service, and it was on creation care, actually is what my message was. But I took some notes and I sat out in my yard and forced myself just to pay attention to the bees and the trees and put the phone down. And,
I think I hear a song coming there.
yeah. But actually, it took a concerted effort. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, oh, sorry, Carol, did you have? I didn't. Okay. But yes, I saw the nod. It's funny because I think when we feel a disconnect, we tend to retreat even more, right? It's one of those like catch-22s of humanness, is like when we feel lonely or sad or anxious or scared, we retreat. But really what we want is connection and care and togetherness, but we do the opposite thing of what we actually ultimately want and need. So it takes that concerted effort sometimes to really push yourself, to really, decide to be friendly with everyone you encounter that day, or to, maybe you need to get away from people and go connect with the natural world more, connect with the spirit more. Just taking this week, I took one day, I brought my computer out to the picnic table, and I could feel just the sound of the crickets. Just brought all my anxiety down a notch. And that was a good connection point. But this week, we're moving, and it doesn't necessarily go in an order. It's not like you have to do these steps. But another way of living this life of our wild faith is through honor. And so honor, we think of this in its verb form. And good old Merriam-Webster says, honor is to regard with great respect, or to fulfill an obligation, to keep an agreement. And it's a salute with a bow and square dancing. I didn't know that. A little honor to your dancer. Honor your partner? Okay. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I didn't have to take square dancing in school.
I did.
Too bad. Oh, yeah.
You were just young enough not to.
Yeah. So honor, there's lots of ways to honor as a verb. So in this great square dance of life that we're living, how do we bow? How do we honor? How do we have regard for life, for others, with respect? How do we fulfill that obligation we have to God, to the world, to ourselves, to one another, to our Creator, our fellow earthlings? This is what we're thinking of this week as we move to the honor path. There's this wonderful quote that I almost used last month. See, I still have more tree stuff. It's amazing to me. It's still coming. More contemporary, I think he's passed away. Thomas Merton? He's not still alive. No. He's a contemporary Catholic theologian, though. He said, "A tree gives glory to God by being a tree. For in being what God means it to be, it is obeying God. It consents, so to speak, to God's creative love. It is expressing an idea which is in God and which is not distinct from the essence of God. And therefore, a tree imitates God by being a tree." So a place to start with honor might be just being what we are made to be. At Wild Roots, one of our authors who shared a presentation, Ken, he said, we show love to things by paying attention to them. So our attention, what we give our attention to, guides our intentions, I think. So Sundays, we make opportunities here to honor with listening to each other. We give our attention when other people speak. We say, we hold you in our hearts, right? We offer that. We respect our differences of perspective. And we honor by building our altar. This is a point of connection and it's a point of honor, right? It draws our attention. That's what altars are for, to focus your attention. And we bring gifts of creation that surround us. And we literally lift them up. We give them a place of honor in our gathering. One of my favorite books that I will always highly recommend is Barbara Brown Taylor's An Altar in the World. She says it this way: Earth is so thick with divine possibility that it's a wonder we can walk anywhere without cracking our shins on altars. And we get this idea not just from ancient scripture in Hebrew and Christian traditions, but all different traditions have had this practice of building an altar, or a cairn, as they call them in Ireland, or an Ebenezer, or an Inuksuk, as the Inuits would call them. It's like just that stack of rocks that you see. A little marker of something happened here. I was changed in this place. We hear that in the story of Jacob wrestling the angel. When he wakes up in the morning, he builds a little altar to mark that place. So again, the definition of altar is a table or place which serves as a center of worship or ritual. It's a place to focus our attention and intentions. So I'm curious if anyone might have their own little personal altar somewhere. Yeah?
You've been in my house, but I don't know if you've been in the back kitchen part.
Oh, in the kitchen.
I have this table that I picked up off the curb, and it's like an old oak desk or something with wheels. You know, it's adorable. And my husband's like, okay, this is another piece of furniture.
Trash day is the best
I loved
day.
it. My neighbor down the road, I called it home, and I just collect this stuff. Like every time I leave here, I take something, right? And I've got the hornet's nest that fell out of our beautiful big tree, the paper nest. I've got, well, I have a bird nest, but I was told not to keep those because they might have mites or something. Oh, darn. Feathers, I found feathers here. And I go in there, it's a little tiny nook in my kitchen, which is kind of an odd spot for any kind of anything. But I love going in there. I sit on my bench and I talk to my stuff.
Yeah.
I honor my stuff.
Yes, it's kind of the opposite. Instead of building an altar in all these different places, you bring something from that place to one altar in the heart of your home, right? In the kitchen. I love that.
Bradley was in the hospital one time. He was really serious. And I went down in prayer. I was down on the west side of the Susquehanna, near the bridge. And I put a pile of rocks together, stacked. And that was my prayer. And that pile stayed there for months. And I drove across the bridge, a stack of rocks just sitting there. It got washed out eventually.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
We have a piece of furniture we call the lump. I got it at some shop because I needed more storage in my kitchen, and it looked like it came out of somebody's barn. It wasn't. It's all full of dings and dents. But anyway, I often, if I click something I think is interesting, like those mussel shells from the lake or something, I just put it on there to look at some. The boys found a stick that looks like a wishbone. Well, that's on there. So everybody puts something on there every now and then.
I think we sort of naturally have these little spots where we have our little things, our collections. But there's something about the intention of saying, this is my altar space. And you can have more than one. That's allowed. Because I kind of have a little one in my office, and I have one upstairs, and we have like the family one, and then we have a big wheel that we decorate for the seasons with different things. So we have lots of spots where things collect. But to have a spot where you go and you sit or you stand, and you can light a candle and say a prayer and, do a little ritual for yourself, whatever that might mean for you. Write something down. Put a glass of water there. Have all the elements present, or collect the shiny rocks or the cool sticks or whatever it might be. It's good to have a place of focus in our homes, in our everyday lives. So more from Barbara Brown Taylor's An Altar in the World. She says, "What is saving my life now is the conviction that there is no spiritual treasure to be found apart from the bodily experiences of human life on earth. My life depends on engaging the most ordinary physical activities with the most exquisite attention I can give them. My life depends on ignoring all touted distinctions between the secular and the sacred, the physical and the spiritual, the body and the soul. What is saving my life now is becoming more fully human, trusting that there is no way to God apart from real life in the real world." Sometimes we think we have this idea that we have to climb the mountain to get to God. We think we have to go somewhere exotic or very spiritual or sit silently for hours. But what I love about her book is how she encourages us to find the holy and the sacred in the commonplace, in the chores. Yeah, right in the kitchen. And finding that sense of presence by just shifting your attention a little bit. I made the mistake of going to Wegmans yesterday.
Oh, man.
You were there too? It was an experience. And there was a moment where I was like very overwhelmed. There were a lot of people, and I just said, you know what? If you come to Wegmans on a Saturday and you're in a rush, you're gonna be in trouble. So just go with the flow. And
slippery slope. Next step is Walmart.
Oh gosh, yeah. But it changed that whole experience for me of tense anxiety and I just felt like I literally laid back into like I was crowd surfing through Wegmans. Like, okay, this lane is open, I'll go here, all right. And the cashier was just taking his good old time, and that was okay. I just hung out. I just was present. I just looked over my purchases and thought about the meal, like I just became present instead of trying to get to the next thing. And that felt like a way of honoring myself and the other people around, and the cashier who doesn't get paid anymore for moving faster. So I don't blame them. Like, We were all just there in that moment, and it was lovely. I came home feeling good. It was like great. Yeah, I went to the store. So I love her encouragement to shift your intention. And I think that means bringing yourself to greater attention of your present space and what you're doing and what's happening around you, to see the divinity in it all. And so we heard Alice Walker's wisdom from The Color Purple, right? The book gets its name from this line that she thinks it might piss God off if we see the color purple and don't stop to notice it. It's the most rare color, right? One of the most. Blue and purple, those shades, we don't get to see in nature very often. So when we see it, we ought to stop and notice it. And I loved the following parts of that conversation we heard, that God wants that admiration from us, but not out of vanity, simply because, look at this awesome thing. It's like a kid saying, look what I made, you know? It's like God saying, look at this, people. God is always trying to please us back, to say, look, here's more. And so, right, the question was, well, what happens if we don't stop and say thank you or give admiration? Well, God just makes something else. There's just another opportunity again and again to be amazed by this incredible place. God is trying to please us into awareness, into waking up. Please us so much that we please it forward, right? That we honor our obligation to one another, which is to be excellent to each other, right? The golden rule. Again, taught in every religion since the beginning of humanity. Treat others as you want to be treated. The best way we can honor our Maker, we can honor ourselves and the earth and one another, is to slow down and look around, to bring our attention to this present moment, to take it all in. And to do, of course, as St. Mary Oliver says in her Instructions for Living, pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. That last step is crucial, right? To tell somebody else. I remember seeing this meme that was like, well, my faith in humanity is restored. I was on a walk today, and this kid on a bicycle went racing past me and then turned around and came back, and I could tell he was about to say something, and I got scared, and he goes, baby ducklings ahead, and popped a wheelie and rode off. And she was like, I was just so excited to see baby ducklings, and that this teenage kid stopped to tell me. We tell somebody else about it, you know? Sometimes it's God, and there's no one else to tell, and we say, thank you, God. Look at this. Oh my gosh. But when we can, tell somebody, I love your shirt. You know, even that. Pass it on. Please it on. Bring your attention and intention to each present moment. Paying attention to what's happening, finding something to be astonished in, and then sharing it. Even at the end of your day, in your journal, to a friend, on the phone, to your dog, right? Tell them what you saw. They're listening. And they'll tell you what they smelled and how astonishing it was. And when we move on this path of honor, we are living out the word, the concept of namaste, of shalom, aloha, all these sacred words that basically just mean the divine in me honors the divine in you. So that is the honor path. And I hope we can find ways of bringing some honor into our daily lives by having attention and intention on each present moment. And if you make a home altar, I want a picture of it. Our meditation today is the Thanksgiving address. Dolly will read all about it, but especially after all the continued shootings, wars, death in our world, there is a repeated line in this prayer that I hope we will really take in and let that be our prayer. Now our minds are one. That we might find a way of bringing our minds to one focus for peace is my hope and prayer as we share these sacred words from the Haudenosaunee.
And so I'm Dolly, and we will share these words spoken before all others that they use at the beginning and end of all their important gatherings. And there is that phrase, now our minds are one. And after each category of thing, each part of creation that we're going to be honoring along with them, I'll pause and give us a few seconds to think about something in that category of creation or maybe something else before I say that now our minds are one. And so I invite you to just maybe stare into the fire, close your eyes, however you best can focus and meditate, and take a few deep breaths to relax. And we'll begin. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now, our minds are one. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms. Waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the Spirit of water. Now our minds are one. We turn our minds to all the fish in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water, So we turn now to the fish and send them our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things, too, draw strength from them. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting of thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. We are happy there are still among us those who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. Now our minds are one. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animals of the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives, so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forest. We are glad they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Now our minds are one. We put our minds together to give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the night sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now our minds are one. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to the stars. Now our minds are one. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help through the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on earth. For all the love around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our best words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds are one. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send greetings and thanks. Now, our minds are one. May it be so.
Thanks for listening. If you want to support Church in the Wild and the work we do striving for environmental and social justice, you can head on over to our website, churchinthewild.org/support, or you can click on the donation page link. There you can make a donation, set yourself up to be a recurring supporter, or you can buy something from our Redbubble shop. We're so glad you're with us on this journey, following the Spirit through creation, adventure, and restoration. Until next time.